Between Two Bridges, episode 110. We're not talking about success.
We're not talking about efficiency.
We're talking about survival.
Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. This episode is brought to you by Wash. Sign up at pickupwashdeliver.com. Do the wash. Skip the hassle.
Between Two Bridges, episode 110. We're here, Between Two Bridges studio with Jerry. We didn't tell you who we were last week in case there's new people here. We got to fill them in. I'm Joe. We're not talking efficiency tonight. We're not talking scaling. We're not talking social media. I want to start talking about boundaries, because boundaries equal survival in this entrepreneurial battle that we run, right? And people might be thinking, like, what kind of boundaries are we talking? We don't need a safe word. You know, we just, in my experience in business, customers will run you ragged because they can.
My business too.
Yeah. So I'm talking about the boundary where, like, a customer might have had, oh, I got to go out of town and I didn't put this suit jacket in the bag, and they live in East Butler and they're 48 minutes from my house, and it's years ago. Guess where I was going? East Butler. You know, hour and a half round trip for one suit jacket that I might make $1 on. Mm-hmm. So you start getting experienced in what you're doing, and you realize, you know, even if you have to tell the customer, no, it's okay, but you have to set those boundaries, especially with new clients, because the old clients, they already know you're an idiot.
Yeah. It's harder to re-educate an existing client than it is to educate a new client, for sure.
Right.
But you have to draw a line in the sand, for sure. I had a client a long time ago. He's passed away. But you have to keep in mind what somebody is paying for and what they're not paying for. And as much as you may want to help somebody, you have to provide them with what they're paying for and nothing more. And if you want to offer them that service, offer it to them and tell them what it costs to do it. You're in business. You're not a charity. And as much as, you know, we're in a situation as business owners that we've, you know, you're a client and we've become really good friends. And I've made friends with a lot of my clients. But at the end of the day, they're clients.
Right.
They're customers. And you have to keep that in mind. They're a customer. They're not your friend.
100%.
And
you'll hear business owners all the time say, my friend said, and you're like, that's not your friend, man. You know,
no, at the end of the day, you have to remember that they're paying you for a service or for a product. And if it doesn't make sense for your business, it doesn't make sense.
Right. If like for some reason you said, I'm done, I'm out of business, every single one of your clients aren't going to not file taxes next year. They're going to go find a new account.
Mm-hmm. And if you raised your prices, some of those friends may find somebody else that's going to do it for cheaper. 100%. If you make a mistake, if you accidentally messed up somebody's shirt, they may go find somebody else to do it, even though they're your friend.
Right. And I've had it in the past where guys that I've gone leaps and bounds over, I'm talking like come in at Friday at 2:00, need a suit jacket done for Saturday morning, and I keep the boiler on an extra hour. You know, it's all cost, labor. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a couple months later, we misplaced one of his rental tuxedo shirts, and his girlfriend's on Facebook and on Yelp and on Google leaving bad reviews everywhere.
Talking shit.
Like, the number one thing that you shouldn't do to a small business owner, I mean, there is circumstances, right?
Yeah.
Where you can leave a negative review. But, you know,
I would even go further to say that it's typically those people that you go overboard, you go above and beyond, you try your hardest to accommodate. They're the ones that will be the first ones that will turn on you.
Your high maintenance customers.
Yeah.
You know, what do they say? 10% of your customers create 90% of your problems.
Yeah, I've always heard 80-20.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's typically the rule, that 80%, that 20% of your customers will create 80% of your headaches, 80% of your workload. And, you gotta keep that in check. So you have to create it. We talk about it constantly. We beat this drum, but you have to create systems and processes, and that goes to boundaries. You have those systems in place, you have those rules in place, and, we're gearing up. It's the end of the year. We're gearing up for tax season, and we're working on our tax season processes. One of the things that we did right after tax season last year is we sat down as a team, what worked, what didn't work. And we talked about it after tax season last year. We had a lot of big changes going into last year's tax season. New software, new building, some new teammates, a lot of big changes. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. And so we met right after tax season and just said, okay, what worked, what didn't? And we made a list, and I worked on a whole new workflow to correct some of that. And now, a lot of time has passed, obviously. And a lot of times during that downtime, you forget that pain, right? So now's the time where I have to refresh my memory. Okay, what did we go over? What was that workflow that I worked on? And now it's time to really start implementing those. So we just talked a little bit off air, but we redid engagement letters. Every client's getting a new engagement letter. And it spells out a lot of those changes that we're going to require of all of our clients, that this is how things are going to go now. And we're setting those boundaries.
Right.
And it's not to punish anybody. It's just this is how we're going to be able to continue to provide the level of service that you expect and get things on time, get done on time, and be able to continue our operations efficiently and effectively, because 20% of our clients blur those lines and expect more than what they're paying for and expect continued services throughout the year that are not really included in the engagement. Or, they submit their documents a way that is not okay, or they submit them late and we get them on April 13th or April 14th, and they think that we're going to file them on April 15th. And it's like, no, it's not possible.
There's a queue,
Yeah. And, so we created really good engagement letters that spell that out. This is the way it's going to be. This is the way it needs to be done. So it's all about setting those boundaries, setting those expectations with each customer so that it's clear language spelled out. This is what you're agreeing to. This is what we're going to provide you. This is what you're going to provide us. This is how it's going to go. And you have to stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, in like both of our businesses, it's a two-way street. You can't do taxes without the information. I can't clean the clothes without the clothes. So if you forget to put a bag out and you needed to go on a cruise and you need the stuff back the following week and you didn't put the bag out, now there's got to be some level of competency on your end.
Yep.
Just like if you didn't give me the lottery winnings you had from last year, and now you're getting a letter from the state saying you owe more, and it's not on you. It's not on your company. It's and like that. It's good in our business to set boundaries. It's good in any business to set boundaries.
You have to.
Like even if you're doing fall cleanups as a landscaper and you want an extra 10 customers, but you're behind, and then they call. Mm-hmm. Somebody calls, they're like, hey, I need a leaf cleanup. I'm having a, get together with my friends on Saturday. Can you have it done? And you leave one of your long existing customers in the back burner because you had to get this new one. It's a mess. But as a business owner, it's like, I want it all, but sometimes it's better to say no.
Customers will always try to push the envelope and try to get more and more and more out of you for less and less and less. It's natural human instinct,
right,
to try to maximize what you're going to get for every dollar that they spend. And it's never going to change. And it's not, don't take it personally. It's just the way it is. Everybody's going to do it. And frankly, as business owners, we do it with our employees, right? We want to try to get everything we can out of that employee for as little money as we can. It's just a natural thing. We're trying to maximize every dollar that we spend. What you have to do is you have to set clear expectations. You have to say, this is what I expect to get for what I'm spending. And as a business owner, this is what I will provide for what you're spending. And you have to stick with that rule.
Yeah, consistency is huge in business, no matter what the situation,
Yeah, and you can't let, a lot of times you end up, you may have a really big client that's important, and you cannot let that 20% get in the way of affecting the bigger client that you're putting on the back burner because you're busy running around trying to keep all these little clients happy.
Yeah, I mean, you're constantly putting out fires, and that's what SOPs are designed to do. They're designed to stop putting out fires. They're like the helicopter coming in with a big bag of water. But, and we're the guilty party of not setting boundaries. Business owners are the ones. Your employees, they're like, they'll lock the door at 6, they're leaving.
Yeah, and I think every business owner, when they start out, they're hungry. They want everything, and they're trying to make sure everybody's happy, do everything they can to make sure every fire's out, every customer is beyond satisfied, whatever they need to do to make that happen. And that's really good. And you have to maintain that level of customer service. I get that, and I appreciate that, and I endorse that. But that snowball will continue to grow. And you have to be careful with that. And that you have to set those expectations. You have to have limits. You have to be very careful. You have to have limits on that.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with it so much because I'm in a forgotten business, right? Like, people always forget to get their stuff to the dry cleaners. It's like everybody seems like they need it now. And then the other thing that goes along with that, in any business, your best customers obviously are the more wealthy clients. So they also carry a persona about them that they think that there's a sense of entitlement. I mean, not everybody that's wealthy has entitlement issues, but a lot of them do, you know, because they're like, well, without my business. And it's like, honestly, you're not even like, it's no one of my customers, not one single customer is more than half or even 75% of my business. Right. You know what I mean? It's like we're in these small, like, multiple ticket item kind of businesses that, like, I'm trying to think of a business where like one customer, and people do, they pigeonhole themselves in business where they get like a great client and they focus in and they pigeonhole themselves to that one client, and then that client decides to go away. But my business can't, I mean, I've had good customers go away, but they're not that big to scale,
One customer going away is not going to ever impact your business.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that whenever I was reading about like all that, and I see these little blurbs and videos and information, I was like, that really hits home, because I do have clients that we go way out of our way for still, old clients that have been around forever. And you think about the economic impact of them leaving, probably wouldn't be that significant, but the mental impact of them being here is not only affecting my day-to-day, it's affecting, other people that work for me day-to-day. It's like affecting everything.
Yep.
And it's almost like it'd be easier to rip the Band-Aid off and call them and tell them to find someone else.
Yep.
But in business isn't personal. We talked it earlier about friends. These guys aren't your friends,
Yep.
During COVID, I learned there's a handful of people that I work with in the dry cleaning business that are my clients that maybe bridge the gap a little bit closer to friendship. Because we were down and out, struggling. And I had some people that came in and was like, look, let me buy gift cards.
Yeah.
Let me just give you money. Put it on my credit, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they were worried for me personally. But still, at the end of the day, when I switched to all home delivery, some of those same people aren't around,
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have your four walls, you have your family, and you have your close friends. Other than that,
yeah.
be careful what you do for people, because they won't return the favor. So yeah, I wanted to touch base on that. That was like my big point of 110 tonight. Just talk a little bit about that. Now, you said engagement letters.
Yep.
Back out again. Seems like it needs to be a yearly occurrence. Seems like things are moving.
Yeah, so we do engagement letters for every different thing that we do. So we have engagement letters for tax preparation. We have engagement letters for bookkeeping. We have engagement letters for our payroll services. So yeah, we do engagement letters for every different service that we do. That spells out that particular service that we're offering, spells out expectations for us, expectations for the clients, liability limitations, fee schedules. It's basically, it's a contract, but there's not,
Not binding.
It's not binding as far as, I don't do contracts as far as time terms. Even like a bookkeeping engagement, I always have an out for the client and for us, because I'm a firm believer that if there's some sort of toxic relationship, I don't want there to be a binding relationship, because it's not good for either party.
Yeah, some of my favorite, and it's only happened maybe, I can count on one hand, maybe half a hand, but some of my favorite moments in business were firing customers. Like,
yeah, I've had to do it.
Yeah, and it's terrible. You want to talk about setting boundaries. You either set boundaries or you snap one day.
Yep.
And yeah, I think I'm two people that have fired as clients, but
I fired 2 last tax season.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I actually, it was not a great moment for me, but I actually told a woman on the phone that she's a horrible person. And she said, I won't be coming back next year. And I said, I wouldn't have you back.
Right. I had a gentleman, I'm going to leave his name out of it. He probably doesn't watch the show, but he got kind of raw with one of my girls, like kind of just nasty, you know. And I didn't even fire him as a customer. I pretty much told him how it was going to be. And I said, if you want to utilize our service, this was back when we were on McKnight Road, I said, you are only allowed to come here when I'm here and you call me first. And I thought, we're never going to see him again. When you know it, this dude called me like every Thursday afternoon and was like, hey, coming up McKnight Road. And there's times where I'm like, hey, I'm not there. You know, and he's like, all right, well, I'll catch you next time. But I would not allow him to interact with my girl anymore.
I had a client that the other person I fired last tax season was really, really, really rude to my receptionist, who anybody that knows me happens to be my mother. He didn't know that. And he was really rude to her. And then every time he did it a couple times, like was short, kind of shitty. And I didn't like it. And then the one time it was really bad. But anytime he'd get on the phone with me, he was fine.
Right. So it was like hard to believe almost.
I don't know if it was hard to believe. It was like he had a little attitude, but it was like he just had a little bit of a bad attitude, and then he would be fine with me. So I just let it go. But then the last time he was like really bad. And so bad so that she put him on speakerphone in front of the mailman, and the mailman was like shocked. And it was actually on the office phone, and the office phone actually records the calls.
Right.
And I listened to it. So I called him and I let him have it. And I said, don't ever call here again. I said, I'm terminating all services. We will not be doing business. I said, you will never speak to my staff that way. I said, I'm not sure who you think you are, who you think you're talking to, but that is never appropriate to speak to somebody that way.
And the problem is that guy he probably does it to the next person. It's just like a mindset.
But I won't tolerate speaking
100%.
to my staff, demeaning my staff that way. It was outrageous.
it's a bad look for you to allow it to happen, even though your mom is vested and understands it. She doesn't have to take that.
No, and it was my mom, but it didn't even matter that it was. Like anybody in my staff that would have been spoken to that way, that guy would have been shown the door.
Right.
It's just never appropriate. And but then again, like I had a client, and he's still around, but years ago, probably.
Oh, you killed the other guy?
No. I fired him, but no, I didn't kill him. But there was a guy. This was like 2 offices ago. He was on the phone with me, and he was like screaming at me about one of his contractors didn't receive their 1099 that we sent. And he's screaming at me like really bad. And I said, who the fuck are you talking to like that?
Yeah, and sometimes people are just off.
And he just stopped. And I said, call me back when you settle down. And I hung up. And he called me back about half an hour later, and he was like, hey, I want to apologize to you. And he came in like a week later, and he was like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, I was way out of line.
Yeah,
he's
catch yourself.
Yeah, he's like, I get used to dealing with these guys that I was so out of line to talk to you that way. I should have never spoken to you that way. And he was like mortified, and he's like, and you had every right to react the way you did, right? Because I had no right to be talking to you the way I was talking to you. And this was probably honestly 7 years ago, 8 years ago. To this day, he's still a client. He's a great client. But every once in a while, you just kind of have to put somebody in their place.
And you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I had unfortunate circumstance. We had our car stolen, and like we were Friday. We were going to a wedding. Sarah had the deposit to go to the bank back in the day when you had to go to the bank.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we lost cash. I mean, we lost a significant amount of cash, and there was like 4 or 5 checks in there.
Yeah.
Customers. So I knew who they were. We reached out to them. This lady just wouldn't let it go. She's like calling Sarah dumb on the phone, like to me. She was like, she needs to be more responsible, blah. Like, and I get it, all valid points, but like getting aggressive towards me, like, I was like, listen, lady, we lost thousands of dollars in cash. Our fucking car.
Your car was stolen in Oakmont.
Yeah, and I'm like,
in front of your house.
Yeah. So like, I started like giving that pushback, and then I realized that like I'd flipped that switch. I was that guy on the phone. Now I'm yelling at my client like that. So I just hung up, and then I was like, I'm going to give it like a half hour, calm down. She called me back like 20 minutes later. She was like, I heard you, but you got disconnected. I'm like, oh. And then I like totally changed my tone and was like, all right, we're going to get through this. Like, but I was like so jacked off. I'm like, I still don't have my car back. All right. Like I'm the one that's out. All my routing and checking numbers on that. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but you also probably mailed a check to Duquesne Light last week.
Right.
With that
player.
routing and account number that may have gotten stolen on the way to the mailbox. Like, that happens all the freaking time.
Yeah, it is
like, relax, lady.
What major companies get away with.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dealing with a situation with UPS right now where they delivered the wrong package to my house. So now Sarah spent 3 hours on the camera trying to figure it out. We're talking back and forth. Did you grab it? No. Did you grab it? And like, it's gotten to the point where like, we know there was a package on the porch. We saw it. Then like a day or two later, Sarah's still going through this. I mean, it's driving her crazy. We're like, where is it? Well, here we got the wrong package delivered to our house. We walked it down to the neighbor's house and gave it to them. They declared that package that was delivered was our package, which it wasn't. So then they go back to their system. Oh yeah, the driver refused it. They said the homeowner refused it. We didn't refuse anything. It would have been left on our porch. So what do? They send it back to the person. Now that small business has to pay to send it back to us, or we need to pay them.
Yeah.
Because we refused it. And I'm like, you know what? They fucking do this all year round, UPS. They only get caught at Christmas time because people start paying attention a little bit more because they're waiting for shit.
Yeah.
And it's like these big, and you can't even call anybody.
Nope. There's no phone numbers to call anybody. You can't call anybody.
Good luck. Talk to a chat bot. Good luck.
Yep.
Waste management's on my shit list. They were 2 months ago. They were coming to pick up on Wednesday morning. I had a box. I threw it on top of the dumpster. The lid didn't close by this much. They charged me $275 for an overfilling fee. So I don't have it set up for auto pay. So I pay them.
Fucking mouse right there.
Go that way. He's going that way. Catch this motherfucker. He's our guest for the night. He's going that way. He's going that way. Psycho. Get him. Cut him off. What are you afraid of? A mouse? Get him outside. Oh, he's in your boxes now? This is all on air.
Thank you for listening. And now a brief word from our sponsor. You've got a full plate. Kids, meetings, workouts, side hustles. There's better things to do than laundry. Introducing Wash, laundry reimagined for the modern world. Schedule your pickup in seconds via the convenient web app. Wash picks up your clothes, cleans with care, and brings them back fresh and ready to wear. But it's more than garments. From bedding and table linens to shoes, hats, purses, and more. Wash handles all your life's fabric, leaving you more time to do you. Visit pickupwashdeliver.com and see how convenient it can be to do the wash. And now, back to the show.
All right, what were we talking about?
That's going to be good for the bloopers.
Can you rewind and tell us what the fuck we were talking about? So,
You got to stand your ground.
yeah, you got to stand your ground. And episode 110 wasn't designed to be a bitch session about customers, but you know, when anybody that owns their own business that watches our show, they completely understand it, and they could probably tell you 5 stories from this week.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this time of year, like I was saying about UPS, these big companies, they fucking get away with murder.
Yep.
And this time of year, everybody, you know, you see it all across the board. You know, we talked last week about consumer spending, and like this time of year, everybody's paying attention to their money. 1, because it's the end of the year. 2, because they need that money for Christmas. You know, like in like June and July, you don't have a $2,000-$3,000 bill you're looking at for buying all these fucking gifts for people. You know, but like in December, you're coming to the end of the year. You know, Clark Griswold didn't get his fucking bonus, and he was on the hook for $11,000 for a swimming pool. You know, so it's that. I think that all comes to a head this time of year.
Yep.
But you know, I think as a small business, you know, I've had situations where, like, let's just say November, we deliver your order, and there was one shirt that had a stain on it. Well, I don't get paid for that one shirt until you get that shirt. That's just how we've always done it. Like, I'm not going to charge you for something you didn't get yet.
Right.
And customers, I'm sure, appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, so like at the beginning of November, we delivered an order back, one shirt, $5 is on the rack waiting to go back. Customer said, don't worry about it, bring it back whenever you come for the next pickup. So then they get charged for that shirt when that shirt comes back, and they're like, well, I got this charge on my card. I'm like, yeah, it's for that one shirt. Like, well, I already paid for it. I'm like, no, that's my SOP is I don't get paid until the job's done. Everybody knows it. Well, you should have told me. I'm like, well, you know, you got thousands of dollars probably coming out every month in subscriptions and credit card fees. And like the small business owner is the one that's got it. I'm supposed to have a person on staff.
$8 shirt or whatever.
Yeah, call you up, let you know. I mean, I get where you're coming from. I can relate to all of this bullshit. I live a life too. I'm a human. But like at some point, dude, cut a small business owner a break.
Right.
But like with waste management, I can't even call anybody.
Right.
So I just refused. Like I send them their payment for my monthly, like whatever, or biweekly garbage pickup. But I refuse to pay that. I subtract that every time until someone calls me because it's bullshit.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, they'll send you a video. Like this is, I'm like, it's $1. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
And then it makes me think I screwed up. You know, maybe I save $1 or $2 using waste management. Maybe I should have dealt with like Steel City Hall or something like other smaller refuge company.
Yep.
because at least you could talk to someone.
At least you can talk to somebody. At least
Right.
there's somebody that's going to be able to have a conversation.
Yeah,
You know?
I had 2 salesmen from AT&T walking in the store tonight. Oh, they want to switch I'm going to save you so much money.
Sure.
And I'm like, I've been down this road, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean, no? I'm like, no. Like, and you're almost like, get the fuck out is what you almost have to
These
say.
solicitors, I just had a guy come in, and I'm not going to blast the organization, but they
Put
come in.
Put it in the comments in the bottom.
They come in, and they want donations to join this organization, and they do good, you know, but like they're so persistent and aggressive. It's like they won't take no.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you give them the like, no, like, and I believe in their cause, but like, if I'm like, no, man, I just like, now's not a good time. When can I come back? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't do it right now. Like, first of all, I'm busy. Like, I don't have time for your spiel. And then he starts like playing videos and he's showing me stuff. I'm like, listen, man, I don't have time for this. And I don't want to spend the money on this right now.
Right. I'm already a big fan of what you're doing. Leave
Yeah,
it
but
at
like,
that.
yeah. Well, when can I come back? I don't know right now.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'll come back next time I'm in town. I'm like,
Take
okay.
a fucking hint.
and then he's going to be back like probably in a couple weeks and I'm going to be in the same position.
Yeah. I almost want to say to that person, like, well, how much are you getting paid for your job? Because I could use a hard-nosed salesman like you,
Dude.
in my business to just start knocking on people's fucking doors in the middle of their dinner, like 6 o'clock. These people are riding scooters around town.
Dude.
I could use a couple guys like that. I don't know what they pay them.
It's so aggressive, dude.
Yeah, and that's why I refuse to do it. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the marketing things in dry cleaning are like, go when people are home, 5:30, 6 o'clock, knock on doors, you know, offer your service. And I'm like, you know how I feel? Someone knocked on my door at 6:30 when I'm sitting down at dinner.
It's a different day and age.
Yeah. I mean, you're lucky you don't get one in the chest, let
Yeah.
alone. You're never going to get a yes from me.
You know that skit with Sebastian Maniscalco where he's talking
He is-
about like how the times have changed, and I'll paraphrase it, but if you
At the company one?
no, he's talking about how he's a comedian,
Yeah.
and he talks about how, you know, it used to be, you know, mom always had an Entenmann's that you weren't allowed to touch because it's for company. When's company? Go just in case. And if you were at home and it's, you know, 7 o'clock at night, somebody knocked on the door, is there somebody coming over? I don't know. Let's see who it is. And everybody was all excited because we have company. And then people come over unannounced and you'd have Entenmann's, and you know, it was always something, you know, we're always excited. Now somebody knocks on your door, it's like, who the fuck is
Turn
here?
the fucking lights out.
You know, and it's like they're pulling a sword out from under the couch. Like, shut the lights off. Who's at the door? It's like, what is going on? Like, no, it's a different day and age, man. Like,
Right, that was like a Saturday ritual when my dad was in town. We would like drive around town and like say hi to people and like go to their house and like, you know, what have you been up to?
yeah, it's different now, man. You don't
Cell
go to
phone-
people's houses.
Yeah, cell phones, you're like, call me.
That's back whenever people used to leave their doors unlocked. Like,
Yeah.
you could go in a neighbor's house and just walk in and be like, hey, man, what's going on? Yeah, but now, like, my door's locked, my alarm's set. Like, you ain't coming. Like, if somebody knocks on my door and it's dark outside, man, if I open the door, you don't want to know what's in my right hand. Like,
I'm not buying cable, dude.
Yeah.
I might be
it's not
going to
good.
fucking AJCO.
If I'm not expecting my Uber Eats delivery, it's not. There's no good reason for me to be opening that door.
Yeah, dude, it is a different day and age.
Yeah.
And like, I've always kind of put myself in the shoes of like, if I were to go knock on that door. Now, years ago, I did go knock on doors. You know, mostly I did it like earlier in the evening.
Sure.
But like, dude, there's no reason for someone at 8 o'clock, especially this time of year, to be knocking on my door, asking me if I want solar panels on my roof or not. Like, you've already lost me, dude.
Yeah.
The
Let me
fact
talk to
that
you
I
about
got-
your electric bill.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's a tough world, and those aren't small businesses. You know, I've been following along like with this small business Saturday now that we do have a retail setting and small shop local, and yeah, I get it, but like you should be doing that shit all year. You know, We killed the hardware stores in this country by going to Home Depot and Lowe's.
We did.
And we're all responsible for it, you know?
Yep.
But like, you can't have these beautiful towns without Main Street, you know? Like, Lawrenceville doesn't make sense if there's no small businesses there.
No, but I'm seeing a lot of revitalization of the Main Street happening.
Well,
you know, there's a lot of that happening in these towns. People are starting to move back to that. Now, I don't know if we're ever going to get back to, you know, the little local hardware stores, you know, but there's a lot of little mom and pop, you know, little Italian groceries popping up. And there's a lot more, you know, these chain restaurants they're suffering, and there's a lot of private owned restaurants that are booming.
right.
There's a lot of shift to that, and a lot of episodes ago we talked about that. That's something that I noticed when my brother was stationed in New Hampshire, that was a trend up there when he was near Portsmouth, New Hampshire. In downtown Portsmouth, I noticed, and I mentioned it to him, there was a little mom and pop coffee shop. It was a big shop. It was a big store, but as far as like square footage, but it was just a mom and pop coffee shop. And at one point we were up there and there was a line literally out the door right across the road. And it's just like, the whole town is just like cobblestone. It's like an old school little town. Right across the road is a Starbucks, and there was nobody in it.
Good for them.
And I said, dude, check it out. I said, there's a line out the door there. Starbucks is empty. And he's like, that's something unique about this area.
Yeah.
People tend to go to mom and pop shops, and they don't deal with like big chains here.
Right.
And I'm seeing that moving to more like down south, more into like the Pittsburgh area, at least, where you're starting to see that trend, where you're seeing small coffee chains that are opening up. You're seeing these little smaller restaurant chains that are opening up, and you're seeing these big restaurant chains like Olive Garden and these big Darden restaurant groups that are suffering, and these smaller restaurant groups or mom and pop restaurants that are thriving because people tend to go there now.
Well, there's a name for that movement here.
What is it?
So they're saying the movement's going from B to B, not between two bridges, but business to business, to B to micro, which is like these larger companies want to deal with like individual companies that specialize towards one thing, right?
Okay.
So like it's my reference when I think about it, I think about Tommy Boy. Like you could stick your head up a cow's ass, but you'd rather take the butcher's word for it. So like that's why when you go to Giant Eagle, they try to keep the butcher department the same. They want the butcher there that you can talk to, because like you want to know that some people with the internet and this newfound information about everything, they want to specialize in everything, you know, like people tend to want to know everything about something.
Yeah.
So like before it was like, we're cooking steak, you know, it's not like that anymore.
Right.
Like they want to know what cut of steak and like, you know, what part of the cow did it come from? And like, where did the cow come from? People are more, I guess because the internet gives you this information, right?
Yeah, there's so much information out there, and with social media, you see all these like TikTok influencers now that are showing you how to cook, and they're like, "Oh, I want to make that, so what cut of meat do I need for that?" So they're going to go to the store and look for that particular cut of meat.
Right.
They're not just going to buy a steak.
Right.
They're going to look for a strip or for top round or whatever to go make what that guy on TikTok made.
100%. And you see it with like, there's some small shoe shops, like where I'm at, there's a company called Soul Collective. They specialize in shoes. Like, you know, so like you need shoes, you're going to go get shoes. It's not like the old days of like service merchandise where everything came down the conveyor belt.
Yep.
Those companies are gone.
Yep.
But like, you know, they're generally your normal purchases, you're going to just buy on Amazon. You know, you don't need to go find batteries somewhere. You just get them on. But people are starting to like they want to shop small. And they want to go somewhere where they know they're going to get a good product. Someone stands behind that product. And then on a bigger scale, the reason I read about this was because of our manufacturing company. Now, we specialized in making spiral mylar duct, right? That was what we did. Well, now these big companies have come in and just like bought everybody that's smaller, like in the abatement industry. Well, the bigger companies that have done this, people are talking, not me. I don't know everybody, but they're saying like, hey, we're sick of this shit. We're sick of buying from one person. Like there used to be all these businesses we could rely on. Like I need this, I need it now. I know if I call them, they'll get it done. Mm-hmm. Well, the larger companies have killed all that. So now you're on a job and you need this, this, and this. You have to call them, and they're like, it's 10 days out. And you're like, well, what do I do? Like kids' Christmas parties tomorrow. Like I need shoes for the kid. My daughter needs a pair of nicer shoes. She grew out of everything. We got to go rely on what Target had. But if there was more small mom and pop shops, I know we talked about setting boundaries, but like if your neighbor Fred owned
supply and demand. If there's more supply.
Yeah. But if your neighbor owns a small business, a plumbing supply, like say your toilet's leaking in the middle of the night, you can't call Lowe's and say, hey, open the door. That shit's gone.
Yeah.
But like if there's more small businesses, like, I mean, we're not open on Sundays and Mondays in Sarah's store in the front. But like, I'm sure shit if someone called on Sunday and was like, hey, we're going to this retirement party. We need a card and a gift. Can you come down and maybe open it up and meet us? We probably would, just because that's what you do as a small business owner.
Yeah.
But
more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to think that I wonder if we're going to eventually get to a point with that shift where we're going to see these big box stores. We've seen the demise of companies like Service Merchandise, right? If we're going to eventually see this shift where you're going to, these big box stores are going to be eliminated by the likes of Amazon. And then we're going to end up filling from both sides, where you're going to have mom and pop stores filling, because so Amazon's great for a lot of things, but there's a lot of people that are upset right now in particular because Amazon, everybody's Amazon Prime, right? 2-day delivery. But right now it's not, some people are upset. There's like 7 days. So why do you have Prime, right? If you're not Prime, who knows how long it is, right? So it's not always 2 days. And even in 2 days, if I need something because Christmas is right around the corner, 2 days sometimes isn't even that great.
Yeah.
I need it right now. I'm wondering, and then there's also some things that I don't want to buy on Amazon. If I need a nice pair of shoes and I want to make sure that it's going to fit right, I don't want to necessarily, especially for my kids that are growing, my feet are always the same, and I know what shoes fit me, and I buy the same pair of shoes. So I can go online and buy a pair of shoes. It's not a big deal. But for my kids, I'd like to go to a nice shoe store, get them fitted, and get a pair of shoes that fits, right? But I'm wondering if we're going to kind of see this market fill from both sides, where we're going to end up with mom and pop stores that are going to fill that instant demand, and then Amazon basically just fill everything else. And I wouldn't be surprised if within the next 10 years, that's kind of the shift we see, where a lot of the big box stores are what's going to end up getting eliminated by Amazon, but we're going to end up filling a lot with private owned stores so that we can fill the demand of the instantaneous shopping, because people do want stuff right now. There are specialized merchandise that people want that they don't want to buy on Amazon, and they don't necessarily want to buy from China, which is a lot of the stuff you buy on Amazon. And they want to buy it from a small business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Etsy hit a mark there, doing what they did. I'm sure that they're booming right now. But I think that with that 7-day window, and I was thinking this today, like obviously Black Friday is for the big box stores.
Yep.
And then they do the Shop Small Saturday. But one of the things I was thinking about, and especially while you were talking there, is maybe American Express missed the mark. Like maybe it should be last Saturday before Christmas should be the one you promote the local small shops to, because now you can't even get it on Amazon. Yeah. You've missed the window. Yeah. And you got to buy for your babysitter, and you got to buy for this person. And shipping
You
can't
gotta
be
buy for your wife.
Yeah, you gotta buy it for your kids. It's like shipping's not in the equation.
Right.
So like maybe that's when they should be putting the marketing dollars towards of like, you've missed the window to buy shit online, because the post office will come out and say, hey, this is it.
It's
You know,
not
the
happening.
18th, we're done.
Yeah.
So like after the 18th, you know, if you need a gift, 21 Brilliant Avenue, Port Provisions, we got one for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a driving force to what the world is now, you know. But Target will be open until midnight on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
And they don't care, because they're not, like, the people that run Target aren't working the cashier registers.
Nope.
You know, they're not getting bitched at because this isn't in stock. You said you had one online.
I went into Sheets the one day on Christmas Day because I forget what I even needed.
Ball humbug gift cards
I
for
think
everyone.
I needed to buy ice or something to take to my parents' house because they always host.
Yeah, did you get free coffee? That's always cool.
I don't think I did. But I felt terrible that these people were working on Christmas Day. And I apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry you have to be here.
There is a shift change in that too. Like,
And you know what they said to me? Comes with the job, man.
Yeah.
I knew it when I signed up. It's no big deal. It is what it is.
someone once told me when they open a new Sheets at the grand opening, they tie the keys to it, like a helium balloon. Just send them. That's it. They never plan on closing, ever. Like, not even for a second.
Wow.
I mean, fact check that, Jack.
Less COVID hits.
I don't think they close then either.
I guess they're probably. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we do this show for smaller business owners, but if anybody from Target or Sheets wants to come on and tell us their algorithm and what they're thinking,
Yeah, I want to
We'll
see
entertain
Steve
'em.
Sheets. Let's get Steve Sheets on the couch.
I'll have them.
I want to talk to Steve Sheets. How the hell did you go from one to...
Yeah, 100 episodes ago, I think we talked about Sheets was racist and they were going out of business because they were racist. Remember that?
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff in the news about how they were racist. That was hilarious.
Yeah. So,
See how well that went over.
company Christmas party for Landmark or no?
No, every day's a party.
We'll put a link in the bottom for you to apply for a job.
No, we're not hiring.
Yeah, I mean, you see that too. That's gone by the wayside. Company Christmas parties used to be a big deal. Like, it seemed like everybody was going to company Christmas parties. I've never been a big fan. If your company has enough money to throw a $10,000 party, why don't you just divvy that up amongst the employees? Everybody'd like to have an extra $150 in the bank, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, you would see guys would take their like company to their country club,
Right.
and have a dinner. And it's like, the fuck are we doing here? So, people are getting smarter.
That's right.
Got anything else for our listeners tonight?
I don't think I do.
You out of words, bud?
Out of words.
All right, man. Well, it's been good. Good hockey talk. Love you, bud.
Love you too, bud.
Thank you for listening to Between Two Bridges, a business-to-business podcast. Find and follow us on your preferred podcast streaming platform. Like and subscribe, and leave us a rating and review. You can join us socially on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can email the show at info@betweentwobridgespodcast.com. Until next time, make it till you rake it.
I knew if I said something, fucking Franny was going to jump up and grab that motherfucker.